Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to our number 3 chat for the subject of our pen fast. And if you're new here or you don't know what that is, what I'm doing is I'm applying the principles from intermittent fasting, where you have an eating window and then you have a fasting window, which is much longer than your eating window, and that helps with weight management and health and everything like that. Well, I'm applying that to my spending in the pen hobby. And for my first experiment, I'm taking July, August, and September completely off from buying within the hobby. No pens, inks, or special pen-related hobby things, with the exception of stamps. And we'll go into another item that came up. But so it's essentials only, and it's nothing to do with anything that I don't need, so to speak. So so this is actually the 3rd video, and I'll link the other 2 videos in case you want to catch up. But there was enough interest, and there were lots of people who were kind of going in and out of no buys or similar kind of things that they were doing, and so I felt like, wow, we could really support each other. So the first thing I like to do with these videos is I like to read over some of the comments from last time, because I really do read the comments, answer the comments, and think about the things that you all have said. And I only picked 4 this time, but they were 4 that I really mulled over and thought about myself, so I've got them printed out, because this will help my mind stay on track and not forget anything. So the first one came from Janie at JP Pen and Ink, and she said, the overall subject that she's talking about is unlimited inking allowed. That's what I captioned it. She said, I have decided that because I have buying restrictions, I will not restrict myself as to how many pens I ink up each month. I love writing with a rainbow of color and write long letters as well as journal daily. I am now into week 7 of my no-buy, and the longer I go, the easier it's getting. That was a really encouraging comment for me, because at the time I read it, I was a little behind on the same path, not so many weeks under my belt yet. Right now, I've got a little over 2 months, but it's been a whole month since then. So I was about a month maybe on that same path going behind you, Janie, and that really made me feel good to hear someone else say, it's getting easier. Okay, so there was that element. And then the other element was that I am a little bit restrictive with my inking up pens. And, that can be good. But I have noticed that over this last month, I allowed myself to get all those TWSBIs inked up and run a separate pen case for those. And, of course, they don't dry up, so that's like cheating. But I have felt really happy about that too. So I think I unknowingly, ran with this idea. So anyway, next up was Terry, and Terry had a longer comment, but the main part that I extracted from what she said was, it was holding out for better pens. So she says, I'm more likely to skip low-cost pens in favor of waiting and getting something a bit more expensive. This results in fewer pens that I like and appreciate more. So I did put down partial comments. So you'll want to go back if you want to read the whole comments, and just look under Pen Chat 2, because that's where these are coming from. Okay, and that's something that I've contemplated off and on, but I do often go for the low-hanging fruit. And I have to admit, my disappointment rate in pens is pretty low. Like I did have one really bad dud with a Chinese pen. It was that little wooden and brass one that I had such high hopes for. But, basically I got a lemon that time. But I do watch a lot of videos and study and, see what, Chris Rapp 52 says about it, what SBRE Brown says. And there's a few other people too that I watch where I kind of get an idea first. Seldom am I in the first wave of buyers for anything, I think maybe with one exception, that Q1, I just jumped right on top of that one. that little pen was just so interesting. But anyway, I think that holding out for a pen that I really, really want is a good thing. And it is something that I'm actively trying to do right now. And I'll go into that more detail in a minute. The third comment that I extracted was from La Green Witch, and they say, what we may be buying. Oh, okay. Remember the last time I talked about maybe we're buying emotions, or maybe we're actually, you know, if we're, especially if we have a lot of pens and there we are buying another pen, we have to kind of maybe get a little bit more aware of what exactly it is that we're buying. So this comment was really interesting. They say, I also have a special interest for capitalism and consumption, and I read a specific book about emotities. I'm not sure how you say that. It's a combination of two words. It's titled Emotions and Commodities by Eva Eloise. I think that for our fountain pen hobby, the emotion/lifestyle we buy is about introspection, smartness, communication, learning, and aesthetic. Yeah, and that really hit me. I think that there's just so much that comes with our pens that is loaded in there. We're learners, we're communicators and writers, and yeah, so we can become more aware of exactly what it is that we're buying, and that comment was really interesting to me. Okay, the next one is a little longer, and hopefully I can not get my words all scrambled, but this was from Snow Dragon K, and it's about having a waiting period. Everything that I find, and I'm like, oh, I want this, it has to go through a waiting period, which I guess is bad for limited editions, but I can live with that. So whenever I want to buy something for any of my hobbies, I write it down or put it in a cart and leave it there, setting my internal clock to a week. That's strength there. After a week passes, I open my notes cart and reevaluate. If I didn't think about what I had in there for a whole week, it's gone. If I thought about it, but my enthusiasm lessened, another wait period commences. If I'm still giddy about getting it, I give it another week still, and then I pull the trigger. This has limited greatly my impulse buying and allowed me to filter everything that might be heavily influenced by FOMO, fear of missing out. And then they also mentioned creating criteria and boundaries, so that I think the comment had to do with specifically what size sections and what dimensions of a pen normally is their favorite. And that way, keeping that in mind as a boundary or a criteria. And I love that because, I did that a long time ago. As far as I had in mind what I really liked best about pens, and way back when it was almost always I had to be a demonstrator. I've changed on that now some, but and another criteria I have for myself is I love to be able to easily swap nibs. And of course, some of that is comfort level. I'm getting used to swapping nibs even on the TWSBI Ecos now, because enough people have encouraged me, and I got over my fear of wrecking a feed because I have a few extra pen parts. Let's put it that way. What I realized was, I ended up with two of the same color and one got cracked, and I thought I'm just going to start, saving some parts. And every single time something goes wrong, I don't need to completely revamp the pen, unless I want to. Anyway, there's more on that later. So those are the four that I extracted that I feel like I lingered on and thought about the longest. So I just encourage you, if you do have the time, to read the comments that come below these videos, because you guys have a lot of wisdom, a lot of ideas, and are many of you on a path ahead of me that have had a little experience with tangling around with your buying habits and wanting to slow it down or change habits. So yeah, I guess I already said I want this to be an ongoing series, because as long as I see the kind of participation and interest that I have so far, I'll keep doing it, because it keep us all on track, and I know I need it. I need to be mindful and thinking about what's happening. So with that in mind, I want to tell you what's been happening since a month ago, what I actually what's gone on in my pen world. So the first thing I wrote down was channel funds came in. Okay, that's usually a huge trigger to buy, In fact, I usually always have it spent before it gets here, but that wasn't the case this time. But more on that later. Oh, well, the next item, actually, I wrote down, I'm trying to be completely transparent here. I bought Coco a nice kennel, and I may have mentioned it on another video, but it belongs in this video because, here we were preparing for hurricane, and I've got 3 cats, and I need 3 comfortable and secure kennels for them, and I had one that was, going to have to be duct taped, and so anyway, I used some channel funds for a nice cat kennel for Coco. I purchased stamps, which I totally, I needed some stamps. I was running really low, and I just had flags left, and that's fine, but we also have other mailing that we do other than pen pal letters. So, and then I did purchase 50 A6 envelopes for pen pal writing. And again, that's such a housekeeping type thing. I don't right now have paper to really make envelopes with. So, I could make envelopes. I know how to take apart an envelope and then, trace. And I have the time, actually. Most of the time I have the time. But I don't really have the kind of paper I would want for that, and I'm not purchasing anything like that. So actually that went into household because we were buying things at Walmart, and Manuel said, just get them. That's fine. That's for your mail outs. So, and then the last thing I wrote down, I still have not purchased pens, inks, or hobby-related things other than what I deemed necessary. So I've now been 2 months, which is a pretty good, it's a pretty rare thing for me, let's put it that way. So the next section, the next thing I wrote down was I wanted to kind of be honest about my feelings about how this is going, and kind of as many of the feelings as I could identify and talk about, I wanted to mention. So first is gratitude. I feel really grateful for all the wonderful things that I have, and not buying and not pursuing and researching and watching videos about pens. I've got a lot more time to delve into what I already have here, which is really feels good. It just, it feels more of being a good steward of what I have. So then the next thing I wrote down was I do have some embarrassment for past behavior. That's kind of seeped in a little bit more lately, but it's okay. It's not that I'm going to use that feeling, I'm going to beat myself up over it. I think it's okay to be mindful and accepting of whatever it is that we really do feel, because then we can be aware, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Just maybe if I want to change, I should just change, Okay, so next feeling that I identified was nervousness. I do feel some nervousness about being on Instagram and seeing things. And also, there's just certain programs I used to watch kind of eagerly to see what was coming out new. And I'm not doing that right now. I think it's just too soon in the journey of truly sticking to a no-buy to be tempting myself that way. So I find myself sort of like, well, should I watch that video or not? Or maybe not right now. It'll be there. And, I found several comfortable places that I can be and watch some content where I don't feel at all tempted by anything. Okay, so then the next one is probably the biggest thing that happened since the last time I talked to you, and since Pen Chat 2 anyway. And that is, I feel disappointed. I do, because I had the goal, or I had the feeling that I would just let that pen money, ad revenue pile up in my little pen account. And, I kind of had this little fantasy of, okay, here I am in October, November, or December, somewhere in there with a lot of money and a lot of choice and whatnot as to what to do with it, and that's not how it's worked out. So honestly, I have $18 left in that account. And of course, a big chunk of that was Coco's kennel. But, it's not like I went and I spent on hobby things, so I didn't break my my pen fast, but and again, it's all about being mindful, because another check will come in next month. So if I want to be better at saving it, then that's what I have to work on. Any tips on that? Because yeah, you know, and I have a weird situation maybe, or a unique situation that I like to contribute, and I like to get things here, you know, for the house or for the cats. You know, I like to be the one that contributes some or earns some of the money, and that's been a role that's changed so much since 2010. So it's been a long time now that I feel like I'm an under earner, and I'm frustrated by that and stuff. Even though we made the decision together that we'd be, you know, we wanted to spend time together and be retired. Yeah. So anyway, that's another area that I really need to be mindful about, journal about, and figure out, you know, do I, you know, is it maybe time for me to get a part-time job, or is it just, you know, a different way that I could approach the whole thing? You know, anyway, that's a lot of, you know, TMI, too much information. But at the same time, I think we help each other when we're honest about what's going on. So what have I been doing instead of shopping? Or when I say shopping, I mean, you know, the scrolling and looking for pens, looking for inks and whatnot. You know, well, I fixed my TWSBI Eco, the purple one that had a cracked section, and I've had the barrel for I don't know how long. way long. And I mean, I slowed down. I watched the video twice on how to do it, because for some reason, you know, you get the wrench in there and then you're still like, which direction is it supposed to go? Anyway, and not only did I fix it, but it had a medium nib in it, and I pulled that out and I put a broad nib off of a TWSBI Go, and oh my goodness, my purple TWSBI Eco is just so happy now. So anyway, that's one thing. And then I swapped a bunch of nibs around. You know, I had an orange Eco, and then I had, let's see, the green one, I wanted a broad nib on. So those are kind of things that, you know, they're not the lowest hanging fruit of an activity to do, but I really enjoyed it. And I also messed around with getting a broad or a stub nib on one of my Moonman minis, and then a broad number 5 nib on a Jinhao 82, which I'll be using for August, so you'll see that. And then number 3 thing that I've been doing instead of shopping or scrolling is the pen pal letter writing has been going really well. I think I have 3 right now, but you know, the mail hasn't come in yet today. So I've had mail going out regularly. And I got those horse stamps, the new, if you're in the US, you might see them. They're I think there are 5 unique ones, 4 or 5. They're horses, and they're really pretty. And then I got the additional ounce one with the fox, and oh, it's so cute. I use that a lot with my mom, where I send her maybe other copies and stuff, and it ends up being just over an ounce. So I need that extra ounce thing. Okay, then number 4, I've had, you know, kind of an increased focus on learning and researching. I've been, you know, kind of heavily researching some really specific stuff in the political and national issue arena that I felt just weak and non-educated about. And I feel like that's been really worthy, you know, of my time to get myself educated. And you know, I'm not talking about the evening news. I'm talking about really looking for some unbiased information and learning some things. So that's been great. That's all I'm going to say on that. Okay. Oh, so then next, moving on to, we're almost at the end of the notes part where I can just ramble, but I always kind of like the rambling best. But from fasting, or from intermittent fasting, I've learned that I need to be okay with having what I might deem as danger foods in my space. You know, it's not like I can completely remove any temptations. And that's the same way I feel about the pen situation. You know, I'm not going to unsubscribe completely from the places, although I could stop getting emails from some of the stores, but I don't really want to do that. I want to be okay with it being there. I don't have to open the email. You know, but with that, it's like you can go to the website, you can look things up, and but I'm not doing that now unless it's going to directly be for a review that I'm doing. You know, like if I'm looking for a paper to see, well, where is this paper sold? Since so many of the things that I'm preparing to review have been given to me, I don't know, you know, where they come from. Anyway, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm aware that this whole thing it's a lot like being okay with, like if my husband or someone else in my space has cake and I'm not eating cake, or it isn't my eating window, then I need to be okay with that. And so I'm hoping that eventually I'll be able to return to some of the videos that I kind of like to follow. Well, one example is fountain pen therapy. He does, Vincent, I'm going to call him Vincent because it's Vincento. I don't know how to say his name properly, and that's terrible. He kind of does what's new, and that's dangerous for me. I still feel like I can't watch the let's see, I don't remember what he calls it, but it's like a weekly recap or review of what's new out there in the fountain pen world. And oh boy, you know, I think it's possible I'm even safer looking at Pen World magazine or Gold Spot catalog than I am watching that, because he's got so many of the wonderful Chinese pens and everything. And you know, that mindset creeps back in, like, well, it's only $20, or it's only, you know, well, but no, you know, this was a mindful, intentional thing that I know I have way more pens than I've given full, like, justice to, or whatever you want to call it. You know, I haven't fully explored what I have, so I really don't want to be loading myself down with more. So anyway, but eventually I hope I can go back to watching that and other programs. So, and that's equates to, you know, having wonderful food that may either not be on my list or definitely not if I'm not in my eating window. So I have to remember that it's similar to that. Okay, let's see. So the last thing, which I don't even remember what it is, so I have to read it. Okay, so I put down, so with the pen fast, I don't tend to open retail emails, and I'm okay with not knowing about pens. Okay, yeah, so there's a little bit more of a comfort level there, where at first I felt like I'm not going to know anything. I'm going to be, you know, completely out of the circle here. Oh, and I wrote down, I'm certain there will be pens to buy when I enter a buying phase or buying window, if I have any money to spend on the pens. Yeah, that's a good point there, because I think that of everything, of any lesson or thing that stands out to me this time, it's that I'm kind of surprised that, you know, that I didn't just retain that money there. And I could have said, man, no, I need to order a cage for, I mean, not a cage, a crate, carrier for cocoa. But I felt good about getting it myself. And so, anyway, there's nothing, you know, I don't want to be harsh on myself. That is the last thing we want to do. I don't recommend that at all. But I do think we can learn, or we can maybe tell ourselves next time, remember what happened before? And then sort of have a pre-plan for that. Or even say, okay, 100 of it is going to stay there. And, you know, whatever's over that amount, then if I need it for necessities, like stamps and envelopes, whatever. So I hope this is helpful. I have had quite a bit of feedback on the other two videos, enough to know that it was definitely worth my time and worth my, you know, putting my own thoughts and feelings and experience out there in case it helps somebody else, because I feel like it does. I know that yours, the things that you write about in the comments or tell me in an email, help me. So chances are something I say could strengthen your resolve or help you, you know, with this journey, which, you know, I'm wanting to just enjoy it. And I feel like I am. I'm enjoying the hobby even more these past 2 months. And there's been a lot going on. excuse me, other than just, doing things to not buy pens and carrying on with my pen pal writing and all that. There's been a lot in life going on with two storms coming through, or one threatening and one did come through but wasn't too strong. And so, and there's been quite a bit going on with my mom, but she's okay. But I've had a bigger role in the last couple of weeks. And so it's not just pen hobby anyway that's happening. So I don't guess I have a whole lot of rambling to do. I just really want to keep up with this series, and approximately once a month I think is a good time period for it. It gives us time to do what they would say, practice. We've decided that we want to either buy less, or that we're in a fasting window for purchases, and then see how it went, And so now you know how it went for me. And I would say successful with those little, things that I did mention. I definitely, because I highlighted those words. So I had grateful, embarrassed, nervous, and disappointed. So I had one positive and three that were, I don't think embarrassed is negative. That's just something that can help me check my behavior. Nervous is probably just honest, knowing that if I were to watch a bunch of videos and it showed really awesome Chinese pens that write really well, and it's somebody that I know, is accurate about that, then that would be a real temptation. And it's probably best, in the early stages here to stay away from that, And yet I love to support all my friends, and I have so many, pen friends that don't even know that I'm their pen friend, I guess, because I'm just a viewer, or not a stalker. I'm not going to say that, but so, I want to be able to do that and not break my, my fasting. Yeah. I don't want to break my fast till I'm ready to do so. So I guess that's the video. I will get busy doing the thumbnail and uploading it. And, I'm trying to think if there's any special links for this one. There might be, although I'm not quoting any books or anything like that. It's almost all pure what I've experienced during the past month. So I hope you're doing great out there, and I hope that I'll hear from you in the comments, because it's a big part of the community. It's a big part of the, I think, growth for everybody when we can share our knowledge and our experience, strength, and hope, and our knowledge, and all of that. So I will see you there in the comments. And it's getting very close to August, and I've already chosen 4 pens and 2 inks. And so, it's ongoing. I have a little tray that as soon as I think of a pen that I just am dying to ink up for, next month, I've been putting them there. And so I'll be coming to you with Chris's inked pens before too long. And this hobby helps me stay positive. It helps me have something that's like a secret weapon against all the negativity and that kind of thing. And it's always there. And especially I especially value the connections, in the mailbox and in the comment section, because that's the same thing. Some of the comments are like little letters, and I really enjoy answering them. So I will see you there, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Stay safe out there. Bye for now.